Hey everybody, Jay Barino here, welcome back, continuing Metroid Prime. We just killed Mama Sheegoth and got ourselves a new beam, which was the Wave Beam, which lets us shoot electricity. We're at the top of this area, and we can move into the Space Pirate Base in Phendrana, with the ultimate goal of making it through this depowered door. But we have no way to expose the power conduit to power it with our Wave Beam, which means the only thing that we can do, again, is to head into the Space Pirate Base. The Space Pirate Base here, there's a scan that we want to grab here. Whoa. So this is a Shadow Pirate. They're typically cloaked, which means you can't scan them. So what I'm going to do, that's why I made sure that this is our opportunity where he's not cloaked, that I wanted to go ahead and get a scan in right now. So now we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so these are normal space pirates. Again, we're going to start by scanning them. So the Wombo combo is you hit them with the Wave Beam, a charge shot, which actually stuns them. Hit them with a missile, that'll finish them up. And again, we're on Veteran, we're not on Hypermode or anything. So, you know, it's nothing crazy. If this was Hypermode, I think they would have twice as much health. But the Wave Beam is extremely powerful simply because it can stun. And it keeps them locked down and allows you to just deal the rest of the damage necessary to kill them. Not to mention, it doesn't just stun, it also does a good amount of damage for a charged shot. Project Titan Specimen is immobilizing Quarantine Cave. That's where we're going to be going after we make our way through the Space Pirate Base. And I'm showing all of these. You know, you can read them if you'd like. There's going to be a lot of these in the Space Pirate Base, so I may not necessarily scan all of them. Just enough, though, to get the logbook entries. There are a lot of Space Pirate logbook entries that get put towards our 100% logbook scans. Alright, so that's the Quarantine Cave where the boss is, and we're going to be making our way through the Space Pirate Base to get the tools that we need to get into the Quarantine Cave. And you can see there's really no good way to circle around. We're actually going to have to make it to the end of this area, and then we're going to backtrack on our way out. But there's going to be a distinct difference on our way out, so it feels less like backtracking in my opinion. But this is definitely the part of the game where, if you're unfamiliar with the game, it can actually start getting a little challenging for you. You know, we've collected a lot of items along the way. We're looking good on missiles and energy tanks. So, I suspect we're going to have no problem here on this playthrough. But when I was a kid, I remember going through this area for the first time, and it was real spooky. It was hard. Okay, research lab Hydra. Again, I'm not afraid to take damage. Use your health as a resource. Okay, so there's going to be a bunch of things to scan here. There's a lot of Space Pirate information. I'm actually going to go through and clear the room out, and then we can hop back down and pick them up. Alright, cool. So let's hop back down and we're going to start scanning like crazy. We came in through this room. Again, do I need to scan literally everything? Probably not. Predator awareness indicated even in cold stasis. I managed to grab a pirate data scan from back there. That's fine. Mining operations have begun near the crater where the phase-in appears to be most concentrated. Daily phase-in yields have increased 44% and our mining system becomes more streamlined as personnel and equipment flows increase. Several incidents of phase-in-induced madness have been reported, prompting augmented life support regulations in the deeper chambers. Symptoms include loss of equilibrium, erratic respiration, muscle spasms, and in the most extreme cases, hallucinations. A timeline reassessment for the refinery operations is recommended as the material proves more unstable than initial analysis indicated. So, pretty much everything here has to do with phase-in.
Recording to Logbook.
Most terraforming and retrofitting of security checkpoints on Talon 4 is complete, but we continue to research the alarming epidemic of breaches by local creatures. Door records show no unauthorized entries, so we must presume the creatures are either slipping in undetected during daily personnel moves, or else finding their way in through subterranean tunnels. We have found many small breaches of this latter sort and plug them wherever we can, but it is unlikely that we'll ever achieve full extermination within our current timetable. So we have some in-universe explanations for why there are just random wildlife in these rooms that are separated by doors.
Recording to Logbook.
We have codified the newfound energy source's phase-in, a V-index mutagen of which we have very little reliable data. Indicators point of a meteor of unknown origin expelling phase-in into the environment. This material appears to possess the power to mutate organic life forms sufficiently to withstand its poison. These mutations appear promising, with abrupt evolutionary leaps appearing in single-generation reproduction. Plans to establish a full science team on Talon 4 are being finalized. 50% of logbook scans. What did I tell you? I said that the logbook scans were going to get... They're going to go quick. Again, you were scanning a lot at the beginning, but then once we scan a bunch of stuff, we will have to scan much less as time goes on. Okay, what do we got here? Ice beetle infestation has been exterminated, mostly. So we're making our way to Research Lab Ether here soon. Again, these little flavor texts, you don't have to read any of these, but I really enjoy them. They just add so much, I think, to the game. Our initial tests exposing Talon 4's indigenous parasites to phase-in appears to be successful. Increases in strength, size, and aggressiveness are common in all test subjects, as well as unforeseen evolutions like additional poison sacs within the abdomens and the appearance of a second ring of mandibles in several subjects. These creatures were chosen because of their resilience, and it appears possible that, given enough exposure to phase-in, they may one day be able to survive on any planet we transport them to. Our methods will have to be refined. We currently have a 100% extinction rate after the 4th infusion period, and most survivors of the 3rd infusion stage are so violent and uncontrollable that they have to be euthanized. Even still, we remain hopeful that further experimentation will result in success. Classic space pirates. Okay, let's head up. For even more to scan. Again, there are 2 labfuls of things to scan, so I'm just gonna do it now and enjoy it. So this is all about them experimenting with phase-in, and if you remember back to the beginning of the game, they were experimenting on the parasites with phase-in, which is why there was a parasite queen, and then everything went terribly wrong. And again, I'm scanning these, again, if you're someone who really wants to read all of these yourself, then you can. Strain Vertigo, mutation of beta xenomes proceeding. I believe they're talking about Metroids, but I'm not 100% sure. Alright, so then this tank right here, cordite casing, we cannot break that yet. So you can hear the sound that's coming from the tube. That kind of whirring sound, that means that there's an item nearby. That's what that is. Okay, let's go ahead and scan our pirate data, the last in Lab Hydra. Research Outpost Glacier 1 in the Fendrana Drifts region of Talon 4's mountains is operating at 85% capacity. Sub-zero temperatures have made the Metroids sluggish and easy to control, even those well into phase-in infusion cycles. Cold containment stasis tanks are sufficient for the juveniles, but some of the larger Metroids have been moved into quarantined caves for safety purposes. Security doors remain an issue, as malfunctions due to ice occur every day. Large predators in the wastes are also a concern, as they continue to kill personnel and breach secure areas. Unfortunately, it has become clear that our containment teams cannot neutralize all of them without vast increases in munitions and soldiers. So it's just kind of providing that flavor of what the heck the space pirates are doing here. So a fun little thing here, because we have the wave beam, which is electricity, you'll see what happens if we kill the turret with the electricity, then the turrets kind of bug out like that, which I think is neat. So it's actually still faster to hit them with missiles so that you don't have to wait through them erratically firing. I remembered that guy was coming. Is there more? Oh yeah. Alright, and in this room, we're actually going to get our next major upgrade, and is, along with the space jump boots, possibly the most useful upgrade in the whole game.
Recording to logbook.
Scans of the spiral sector detected a massive energy spike emanating from a Wanderer-class planet identified as Talon 4. Scout reconnaissance was immediately dispatched to the center of the spike, a landmass at heading mark 4802, returning with planetary samples and atmospheric imaging. Analysis shows the energy source to be an unstable radioactive material of enormous potential. We are unable to form an accurate risk assessment at this time, but we are unlikely to find an energy source this powerful again. Analysis will continue, but currently Talon 4 appears to be a viable secondary headquarters. Yeah, because we destroyed their one on Zebes. And then one more. I told you there were a lot of pirate datas in here. Phase mining is underway. Several garrisons have been established, and terraforming of the Chozo ruins is underway. Security systems are operational, and science team continues to make progress in their biotech research. The Fendrano Drifts have proven to be an optimal location for research headquarters, and soon it will be joined by a fully operational combat base and starport. If Command's predictions are half true, we shall rise to dominance in this sector within a decacycle. Truly, these are glorious times. And we also know that they've got Metroids here somewhere. We're just going to make our way up and through this room. Use the spinners. So I guess that's just like hints. Oh, I was afraid I wasn't going to make that. So we're actually spending a lot more time in these labs than I expected, and that's because I'm reading all of the Space Pirate logs. But I've never actually done that. And of all the, of all the playthroughs of Metroid Prime, I feel like this is a good one to do it. Again, one where I try to have an optimal path through the game and get 100% of everything. I actually quite like a lot of the lore entries. They just really add a lot to the game, in my opinion. So we're actually required to do this, I believe, because we needed to pull down that central projector. So now that we can climb the room and jump across it. There's some research scans you can miss about Talon 4, and then I think Zebes is also scannable. Okay. So let's make our way up. I haven't been reading any of the research entries, just the lore stuff. And then like bosses, mini-bosses. I don't know that much about Metroid lore, but obviously between the events of Metroid and Super Metroid, the Space Pirates rebuild their entire flippin' base on Zebes as well. Holo technicians needed. We fixed it for you. You could take the day off. It's interesting, too, to get the Space Pirates sort of personified a little bit through these logs. And then you're just massacring them, just killing them all. Obviously, they're bad people, but... Alright, here we go. Super missile acquired. So every beam has a beam missile combo. So the power beams combo is the super missile. It consumes 5 missiles and just does a butt ton of damage and is required to destroy certain things. So actually, super missiles are the only beam combo that are actually required. Whereas the other 3 are optional. But we'll obviously be getting them all. Up to the control tower. That guy was just standing there. I kind of like how some of them will rush you down to try to melee you. Their melee does a lot more damage. I'm having a lot of issues with music, I've noticed. There's supposed to be music playing. When I played this on stream, there were only a few minor instances where there was no music playing. They're supposed to have combat music here. In the grand scheme, it's not that important. The wave beam charge shot also homes, which is obviously really, really strong. So we can, we have enough missiles, we can use super missiles to kill these guys quite quickly. Just instant kill. It's a lot of missiles, but if you've got them, you might as well use them. Okay. And let's move on, and hopefully they'll be... Well, the normal ambient music is playing, so that's all good. It's just the combat music. Sometimes it's like, nah, not today. It's not that dangerous, Samus. You'll be fine. I scanned those flying pirates, didn't I? Oh, here we go.
Recording to Logbook.
Metroids. Energy-based parasitic predator. The dominant species of planet SR-388, Metroids can suck the life force out of living things. A Metroid will latch onto its prey and drain energy, growing larger as it does. The only way to shake an attached Metroid is to enter Morph Ball mode and lay a bomb. So, we're going to make this thing real easy. And just hit it with a super missile, which just instantly melts it. Metroids are notoriously weak to cold, which was in one of the scans for the pirates. It had said that's why they're keeping them here. So they're basically using Phazon to mutate the Metroids, which is obviously very dangerous. I'll go through and scan all this junk. So Metroids do also tend to mutate a lot as well. So they'll grab you and suck your energy from you, and the only way you can get them off of you is to turn into a morph ball and lay a bomb.
Recording to Logbook.
The reconstruction of Geoform 187, codenamed Ridley, was recently completed. After his defeat on Zebes, Command ordered a number of metagenetic improvements for him. Though aggressive, we were able to implement these changes in a cycle. The metamorphosis was painful, but quite successful in the end. Early tests indicate a drastic increase in strength, mobility, and offensive capability. Cybernetic modules and armor plating have been added as well. We believe our creation, now called Meta Ridley, will become the mainstay of our security force, a job he will certainly relish. Little explanation there on how Ridley was able to just come back from the dead. Initial transfer of Metroids to Talon 4 research facilities have been completed. 3 were terminated in an incident at the landing site, but the others were pacified and transported safely. Initial Phazon infusion testing is underway. We are eager to observe the effects of Phazon on Metroids, especially their ability to absorb and process the energy given off by Phazon sources. Early research suggests a considerable growth in power and size. Whether the creatures stay stable thereafter remains to be seen. Okay. Let's progress into, this is Research Lab Ether. Waiting to see if any more are just going to be running at us. Then I'll continue scanning. Metroids show immediate mass increases upon energy absorption. Yeah, if the Metroids grab you or if you deal enough damage, they actually go into an invulnerable phase for a couple seconds where you can't damage them, interestingly enough.
Recorded to logbook.
Confidence is high regarding Phazon applications. We know enough about Phazon now to begin combining it with space pirate DNA. The codename for this venture will be Project Helix. Preliminary studies indicate that Phazon infusion could produce radical new pirate genomes. Benevolent mutation levels are high in current test subjects. Phazon madness is a concern, but refinement in the infusion process should reduce or neutralize the odds of mental degradation. Degeneration, rather. Alright, let's try to clear this room out. There's actually a missile that we can get, but it requires some precise morph ball movement, which can be a bit of a pain if these guys are shooting at you. There's one more. Alright, very nice. So let's see if we can get this without falling. Okay. I'm just going to go very slow because, again, if I had a joystick, you could be very precise with the direction that you move with the morph ball, but because we can't be very precise, you just have to take it just a little bit at a time so that we don't fall and have to do it all again. There we go. Okay, great. All right, let's hop down here. We fell to the ground. So there are Metroids in here. We don't have to do this, but, like, we can exterminate them. And that didn't actually kill it, so you can see, like, when it's doing that, it gets bigger, and that's actually when it's invulnerable. Typically, you can stun it pretty effectively if you hit it while it's swooping at you with either a missile or a charged shot. Alright, and guess what time it is? It's scan time. Metroids infused with Phazon strain vertigo are thriving. Project Titan is suspended indefinitely. So they had said that there's a big mutation in the Titan, in the quarantine cave, which is Project Titan. Metroid Dissection continues to provide more questions than answers. Our research teams have isolated the energy conduits that run from the invasive twin mandibles to the energy core in the creature's quadripartite nucleus, but the manner in which a Metroid actually extracts the life force from its prey remains an utter mystery. The victim does not lose blood or any other vital fluids, and yet the Metroid extracts energy. Identifying this energy is our central problem. It takes no physical form, and yet without it, the victim dies. We continue to research this matter, as the isolation of this life-giving essence could be the key to our ascendance. So that kind of says, like, the energy that we pick up as Samus, can nothing else see that or use that? Like, that's unique to us because we feed off of it because of our Chozo suit, and the Chozo created the Metroids also, so I guess that's all kind of tied together, interestingly enough.
Recorded to logbook.
Studies of Metroid biology continue, though with limited progress, it seems likely that we'll be much more successful using the Metroids for our means rather than trying to reproduce their powers. If they could be adequately tamed, we would have no need of a proper understanding of their metabolism. A small force of disciplined Metroids could wipe out entire armies, and once we find a way to shield them from cold containment weapons, they'll be invincible. Furthermore, if we could then harvest the energy they'd consumed, we would have a near limitless source of power at our disposal. Mwahaha. We're evil. Conversion of elite pirate. Unsuccessful. Yeah, doesn't look too successful. Sorry, buddy. Contaminated beyond acceptable safety standards. I don't think I missed any scannables. Hunter Metroid is showing signs of increased instability. Yep, so there are different strains of Metroids. Triggers psychotic episodes. Jesus. Okay, so let's move on. If we did miss any computers, we can check it out on the way out of the labs. Okay, ice beetles.
Recorded.
Okay, I just wanted the scan. We can ignore them. It's fine. Okay, so we've made it to the end. Let me double check that I do have a scan on the pirates. I do. And again, if you've got the missiles, I'm just going to go ahead and use them. You come by them easy enough. Alright, and this is another one of those rooms where you're going to want to scan terminals as you go down. Thermal software testing. Else you're going to make it to the bottom and then realize you have to go all the way back up. And that's never fun. So rather than just jumping all the way down, we're actually just going to take the typical pathway down. We couldn't even let these Metroids out if we wanted to. Thermal visor. Alright, so maybe you thought the scan visor was the only visor. But nah, dog, we got some more visors coming up. Coming in hot. Is that it? Let's just scan all this stuff first. Thermal visor interfaces will be sent to quarantine area. Alright, and then we actually have a new type of door here. We don't have the right weapon to get through there yet. Okay, so I hope you get used to this view for a while. Because what's happening now is all the lights are off. So this is the normal view now. So we're just going to leave the thermal visor on, and they were nice enough to make it so that the floors glow in the dark. Because I'm on an emulator and it doesn't recognize the commands that I'm pushing on my keyboard, it's going to say press and hold minus to switch to the visor for a long time, unfortunately. And I'm just going to, again, continue to use super missiles to kill the Metroids on the way out. So you remember how I had mentioned how we would have to backtrack through the labs, but there would be a key difference? Well, the key difference is now all the lights are off and all the enemies are invisible. Well, the Metroids aren't invisible, but all the pirates respawn, but they're shadow pirates now, so they are invisible. But it's meant to show you... It's meant to show you that that's what you use your thermal visor for. And also, all the doors are turned off. Not all of them, but you're going to have to... you're going to have to find ways to power them. Okay, those enemies are extremely irritating, which is why I also just use super missiles on those. The more annoying the enemy, the more likely I'm just going to use super missiles. Whoa! The Shadow Pirates also have no ranged attacks, so they're always just going to run right at you. So at this point, there's really nothing else to do in the labs. I think I've scanned everything, and there's one missile expansion we'll get on the way out in the Hydra lab. So our only goal now is simply to escape. Going to double check again that I didn't miss any scans along the way. It doesn't look like it, because we did fall to the bottom of this lab without going down every single walkway, so I just wanted to make sure there was nothing extra to scan. Seems like we're in good shape. We'll leave the thermal visor on for pretty much as long as it takes us, well, not outside here, but for as long as it takes us to get back to the observatory and then outside to that save station. Yeah, no thanks. I'll pass. As soon as we go back inside, the lights are going to be off, so we're just going to pop the thermal visor back on. I could hit the save station. I think we can just leave. There's a save station on the outside of this whole pirate base anyway, before the boss. I think these are more of those bots. And again, because this goes off of heat, you can't see the bots because they're robots, obviously. I did scan one of the robots earlier, so we don't have to worry about that. One thing you could do is let the Metroids out, and then the Metroids will kill the space pirates. Or you. I mean, they'll try to kill whoever's closest to them. So it's actually quite fun to try to use them to kill the space pirates. So let's grab this pickup real quick. Needed a super missile to break that, and we didn't get the super missile until after, which was in the observatory. But I knew we'd be making our way back anyway, so it all works out. Just using this same combination of basically the damage stun and then a missile to finish him off. It works like a charm. Again, if we were playing on hyper mode, I don't necessarily see it as harder per se. You know, we're barely getting hit anyway, so it's just the fact that enemies are huge damage sponges, and we would just have to chain wave beam charge shots on them constantly in order to keep them stunned. I think where hyper mode really starts coming into play is in Prime 2, and then definitely Prime 3, where combat is a little bit more of a knife's edge with the amount of health that you have. Oh, and there's a turret up there, but I can't see it because of my visor. You can still lock onto it, though. Okay. There's still more enemies in here. I'll leave this on. And again, I do make it seem very natural, you know, with chaining the charge shot missile combo, but again, if you aren't sure where to go and you're not sure, you know, where the next save station might be, or etc., etc., this whole Space Pirate research section can actually be a little tough. I remember just, it felt very spooky to me when I was playing when I was a kid. Okay, we're definitely want to try to get some of our missiles back because we're about to go and fight the boss. Alright, let's do it. We can fight and kill the boss this video. Let's go. Just as long as we don't fall off the edge here. So here is where we would have needed, well, we still need the super missile to break that, which allows us to expose the power source to then charge it with the wave beam, which then turns the door on. What a treat. It's not what we needed. Next room is going to be Morph Ball. I'm not going to play that game. We're just going to zoom by them. Thardus, an animated sentient creature of stone charged with phase and radiation. The phase and radiation given off by Thardus negates auto-targeting systems, preventing lock-on. It may be possible to acquire alternate targets with a different visor. The chaotic nature of phase and irradiation leads to instability in its structural integrity. Thardus can encase targets in ice, and its colossal size and strength make it a formidable opponent. Okay. So I tend to actually use the power beam here, because I would like to use super missiles to hit his weak point. So use the thermal visor to expose a weak point. And then it'll overload your thermal visor, but then you'll be able to manually target it like normal. Now he's going to turn into a big ball of rocks and roll around, and we're just going to boost ball away from him. But we'll be able to... Now we can go back to thermal visor. And I'll just do this for as long as I have missiles. Okay. Overloaded, return to combat visor, but now we can actually see... Oh, okay, fine. We can see the blue rock. And it's blue not because it's ice, but because it's phasing. Ah. Still happened again. This one's kind of in a shitty location because it's easy to... Come on, come on, come on. I'm just going to get really close. Again, there was a lot of missiles to be used. That's okay. We can just stick with the wave beamed charge shots because they'll home. But I wasted, you know, what, 3 super missiles there? Easy peasy. Again, it's easy peasy until you run out of missiles, but I wasted a bunch of them, so it's all right. Again, it's fine, and you can get some missiles from the rocks that he throws at you. Okay, so now there's a small blizzard in this zone. Makes it kind of hard to see. Oh, well. Came up for air a little too early on that one. Let's go ahead and maybe break this one with the wave beam. Especially because it's on a leg that could easily be blocked. Ugh. I hate when he rolls around, if only because it wastes a bunch of time. If this guy really scares you for whatever reason, you can actually hide up in the rocks on the outskirts of the room. And he can't get to you. His ice attack can't hit you. The only thing that can hit you are the rocks that he throws, which you can easily shoot down. But even when he rolls as well, he can't get to you. It's quite simple. I like to go power beam for the rocks. So you might notice those magnetic rails around the room. That probably, you know, gives an indication of what we're going to be getting as a reward for this boss. This is low. I know that. Can't see his health bar. So I have enough missiles for one more super missile. But he's just about dead. And then he takes his blizzard away. I guess he's like, all right, you win. Fine. I concede. Don't. If you get hit by him in this form, it does do it certainly does a lot of damage. Is he really doing it again? I should have just super missiled it. I figure I'll use the super missile after we expose the Phazon rock. There. Ooh, it didn't kill him. Just don't turn into a ball. There we go. Bonk. Just to double check. Yeah, I've scanned those. Spider ball. So now we can attach to these magnetic rail lines.
Recording to logbook.
So those you can only pick those up as research once you have the suit upgrade to interact with them. So we were able to scan the magnetic rails previously, but it didn't actually fill in our logbook. But now, because we have the spider ball, we can. And there are several places we can actually get to now with the spider ball. A lot of them I didn't even look at because I knew I would be coming back to them later. But in my mind, I know that there are at least 2 specific spots where the spider ball can really help us. Okay, so now we're on the other side of the quarantine cave. And you'd think, oh, wait, well, number 1, an elevator, but let's see what's up here. And in typical Metroid fashion, it reminds you, oh, you're still missing something to progress in this area. So even though you got something new, hole up. So we'll just use this elevator, and this is going to take us back to Magmoor Caverns. And where we're at in Magmoor is actually like the very end of Magmoor. Magmoor isn't really, it's not exactly a straight line, but if you think of it as a straight line, this save station is basically the end of it. And with that, I think this is a great spot to stop. We killed Thardus, and now we're going to be heading back to Chozo Ruins now that we have the spider ball. All right, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.